Tobacco addiction in the form of smoking is one of the largest burdens on our healthcare system. In fact, the tobacco industry kills half of its long-term users, and that's if they use the product as directed. But not everyone smokes, so it's worthwhile investigating the characteristics of people who smoke. It might shed light on why tobacco hooks some people, but not others. So, who smokes? We know some factors that contribute, like family history. If you grow up in a household of smokers, it increases the likelihood that you will pick up the habit. Stress can trigger cravings for tobacco. Many people relapse after quitting because they were faced with a significant stressor. Some emerging research has also pointed to particular personality traits associated with addiction, which is the focus of this study. This research took advantage of a school-based quitting smoking program in Nova Scotia high schools. To look at personality risk for addiction, we used the Substance Use Risk Profile Scale, or SERPS. It's a 23-item questionnaire that asks questions about traits associated with one of 4 addictive personality types linked to problematic drinking. Respondents indicate on a 4-point scale their agreement with statements linked to personality. Hopelessness is captured with statements like, "I feel that I am a failure." People who score high on this are depression-prone and, if they drink, typically use alcohol to boost mood. Anxiety sensitivity is assessed with statements like, "I get scared when I'm too nervous," and high scores on this dimension are associated with drinking to relieve anxiety or tension. Impulsivity is captured by statements like, "Generally, I am an impulsive person," and these individuals don't have specific motivations for alcohol use, but they have trouble with behavioral control. The trait of sensation seeking is assessed by statements like, "I like doing things that frighten me a little." This trait is not associated with any underlying psychopathology like the other personality traits, but sensation seekers have a need for stimulation, so if they use alcohol, it's primarily for positive reinforcement, or to get a buzz. So why do we use the SERPs? How can a pen and paper questionnaire measure addictive personalities? It doesn't even ask any questions about drug use. We used it because previous research found that high scores on these traits can predict patterns and preference of alcohol use. There's not been much research with tobacco use, so we decided to have a look. We also wanted to explore protective traits, so we chose resilience, or psychological toughness. We had participants fill out the Connor-Davidson Resilience Scale, a 10-item questionnaire with higher scores meaning more resilience. Respondents indicate their degree of agreement on a 4-point scale to questions like, "I am not easily discouraged by failure." Why do we use the CD risk? Well, previous research found that high scores on the CD risk were associated with fewer psychiatric symptoms following early life trauma, compared to those with lower scores. So we thought it might be a protective factor. We're going to focus on the baseline measures comparing smokers and non-smokers. We administered the SERPs, the CD risk, and we also asked about smoking history through a self-report. We also measured carbon monoxide levels using a device, since smoking increases carbon monoxide levels. This gave us a measure to corroborate the self-reports. In total, we recruited 500 Nova Scotia high school students, roughly half-half smokers and non. The sample was about 58% female, and students ranged from grades 10 to 12. The figure on the left shows carbon monoxide levels, and as we expected, carbon monoxide levels are much higher in smokers compared to non-smokers. About 40% of the non-smokers lived with the smoker, compared to over 80% of the smokers. And again, we expected this. Non-smokers are shown in white, and smokers are shown in black. And the score on the various questionnaires is shown in the y-axis on the left. Compared to non-smokers, smokers had significantly lower resilience scores, significantly higher hopelessness scores, and significantly higher impulsiveness scores. There weren't any differences between smokers and non-smokers in anxiety sensitivity or sensation seeking. So why does this matter? Well, if we know about particular personality traits, that could tell us about motivations for use, so we can target these particular motivations. The other useful thing about these data is that if we know ahead of time that somebody's at risk for picking up smoking, we could use prevention strategies. Really, these results are a drop in the bucket in what we know about smoking and factors that might help somebody quit. There are many factors associated with smoking, and this is just one small part.